The process of cutting the forepart of the corset is quite elementary. On the thin mesh fabric, folded in 4 layers, I put and pin all the pattern pieces of the corset forepart, which are adjusted according to the client's measurements. I'm going to cut along the crosswise grain, and therefore I put the pieces so that the waistline runs parallel to the selvage. It is very important because the fabric stretches crosswise much less, and therefore the corset will not stretch and deform along the waistline. I cut out the pieces of the corset forepart. We will need strips of flesh-colored fabric to cover the rigoline bones, which will be sewn along the princess seams and serve as tunnels for the plastic bones, as well as for finishing the bottom of the corset. To finish the vertical bones, I tear off a strip 3.2 centimeters wide and about 1 meter long. And to finish the bottom of the corset, a strip 3.5 centimeters wide. Now I need to prepare 2 straps for finishing the lacing. The width of the finished lacing will be 2.5 centimeters. Therefore, the width of the workpiece strip should be equal to the width of the lacing folded in half, namely 5 centimeters. And we need to additionally take into account 2 seam allowances, i.e. 2.5 centimeters more. So I have to tear off 2 strips of flesh-colored fabric 7.5 centimeters wide, and its length should be equal at least to the length of the central edge of the corset forepart, 35 centimeters. I tear off the strips with a margin in width 7.7 centimeters. as the fabric frays along the edges. The strips prepared for making the lacing bar should be duplicated by iron-on batiste. I tear off a strip of iron-on batiste 5 centimeters wide because you should not duplicate the seam allowances with such a dense fabric. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to work with such a strap. So I have cut out the pieces of the corset forepart and practically all necessary work pieces for its sewing. I move to work on the cup of the corset. I will use a ready-made foam cup, the position of which on the corset we have already determined. Now I need to make a pattern of the cup cover. Then I will use this pattern to cut out the cup lining and the lace cup cover matching the color of the jacket. I make the pattern of the cup cover from thin calico in an imitation way. I cover the chosen foam work piece of the cup with thin calico. Pin it form a dart from the excess of fabric and guide it not strictly down the cup, but slightly towards the side, because this area of the cup will be closed by the jacket and the dart will not be visible. I cut the dart to reduce its thickness, leaving a seam allowance of 0.7 to 0.8 centimeters. I transferred the dart lines and the outline of the foam cup to the piece of calico. To avoid the confusion, you can make notes for yourself which side of the cup applies to the center and which one applies to the side to the armpit area. I take off the fabric from the foam cup workpiece. I cut out the pattern of the cup. What concerns seam allowances, I will cut the pattern of the cup with a wide seam allowance along the bottom, about 1.5 centimeters, so as to make it more convenient for me to work with the cup cover. But I will cut the upper part of the cup pattern without a seam allowance because the cup will be covered with the lace and festoon, and I will need to control what width of the festoon to release beyond the edge of the cup. I cut the cup lining from a flesh-colored fabric. I fold the flesh-colored fabric in 2 layers. Put down the pattern of the cup and pin it. Leave 1.2 centimeters for the seam allowance and mark with a pin the top of the dart. I cut out the cup cover. I remove the pattern and mark the point of the top of the dart on 2 pieces of the lining. After thinking, I decided to make my own cup pattern for the lace. I want to distribute the lace festoon along the edge of the cup beautifully. I cover the foam cup workpiece with the lace and make the dart. I cut off the excess fabric, leaving the seam allowances of about 1.5 centimeters. I cut the dart, leaving literally 4 millimeters for the seam allowance. Thus, I have cut out the decorative piece of the cup from the lace. Now my task is to cut the identical second piece of the cup cover from the lace to make the festoons on both cups symmetrical. Thus, I have cut the cup lining to cover it with the upper fabric and beautiful lace. If desired, for those who want the cup to be finished on the wrong side, the cup inside can also be lined, although it is not necessary. I will not do this as in my opinion it will make excess cup thickness when finishing. This is what the covered cup will look like.